It's Azul, not Summer Pavilion, it's a Summer Pavilion. It's Azul, the Queen's Garden, not Summer Pavilion, which came out at Essen 2020, and then Essen 2019. Essen 2020 didn't happen, and there was no Azul that year. Coincidence? I think not. And then this came out at Essen 2021. It is indeed by Michael Kiesling. Artist is Chris Qualliams. I can't know how that's pronounced, but it's Qualliams. It's Williams, or with a Q and a U. Publisher is Next Move Games. This is not a review copy. We bought this at Essen 2021 rather. So it is the fourth one now, the fourth Azul. It is essentially more of the same. If you don't know how, we'll get there. It is essentially more of the same. It is the same 2 to 4 playing abstract strategy puzzle game with tile drafting and tile laying. It's fully competitive. It's I would personally say light to medium. I would say it's got a very low rules overhead, although this one is actually weighed down slightly by some finicky placement and scoring rules that have to be contended with, particularly on a first play. But the thing is, it does have very simple gameplay, but then the abstract puzzle nature of it kind of gives it this quite a great depth potential, and that's why I would say light, medium to medium. But again, you kind of made a good point earlier on when you were saying that you're possibly influenced slightly by being a hobbyist gamer. So maybe it's close to medium weight. I don't know. What would you say the Azuls are?
I think that the first Azul, I've played the first Azul, and then I think we played a bit of
Summer Pavilion.
Summer Pavilion one time, and that's pretty much the extent of my Azul experience.
Okay, I thought you played more of it.
No, I've only played the first one. I mean, I've played the first one a bunch of times, but that's it.
So, that's right. Yeah, so you played the first one quite a bit, yeah.
I'd say it's pretty light, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, light medium then. I'll stand by my conviction then.
Mostly because it's apparent, and the scoring avenues are quite apparent.
Yeah,
sure. All printed on the board and easy to visualize, and everyone's working towards the same thing, So
it says it takes 45 to 60 minutes. I would say it takes 60 to 90 minutes. And it takes 20 to 30 minutes to teach properly. It is, as I said, it's totally abstract. However, it is themed around Queen Maria or Marie. Maria.
We need any of our historians.
Maria of Queen Maria. I found it. Queen Maria of Aragon, who apparently wanted a very nice garden. So we're making a very nice garden for her. It uses tile drafting, tile laying, set collection. I would say pattern recognition to some extent, and building obviously of those patterns. It is as well. So Azul is, I would say, as a Euro game, it is mostly skill based. There's definitely an element of luck in terms of particularly the player immediately preceding you, inadvertently helping or hindering you.
Yes, I think, to sort of summarize for the completely uninitiated like Eddie, Azul is effectively a spatial puzzle where with 3 sort of stages. There is a draft of tiles. Each round, a sort of a pool of a set of tiles is seeded. You get to take turns drafting those tiles, which you then fit into your spatial puzzle. And then at the end of the game, whoever sort of fulfilled the criteria of the puzzle most effectively wins the game. And there's an element of sort of having to fit the pieces into your puzzle. You can get caught in a situation where someone took the pieces you want, and now you're forced to take pieces you can't put in your puzzle. And as you progress the puzzle, this gets increasingly difficult. I don't know how true this is this new version.
Yeah, so this one alters that slightly. Insofar as, so what you'll actually be faced with is, I'm trying to find a way to actually show this to you without so you will have a stack of these tiles here, which replace the factory tiles which hold in the older versions the various actual tiles you draft. You have a stack of these, which on the other side are essentially sections of the garden, each with a pre-built, with my fingers perfectly covering the only one, each with a pre-printed tile already on it. So what you have is a stack of these, and one will be face up, like so. and the stack of face down ones will have, depending on the number of players, I think it's four. It starts with 4 tiles on top of it. These are not the tiles; these are wild Joker tiles, but the other tiles are in a bag and hard to get out. And basically, you draft. So at the start of the game, you can take tiles from the plastic tiles from on top of the stack, or you can take the face up garden tile. When the stack is empty, once you've removed from a stack, that's the top one is then moved off to the side with any remaining tiles still on it, and you then add more tiles to the next one on the stack. So as throughout a round, more and more tiles come out. They're not all present from the very start. So that's quite a key difference. When you take tiles, you basically, as you notice, the tiles have a color and they have a symbol. You choose a symbol or a color, and then you take all tiles from all tiles present from across the board, not just from one tile, not just from one group. You take all tiles across the board of the color you selected or the symbol you selected, but you never take 2 identical tiles.
So that's a little bit more complex, isn't it?
Yes.
Because in the original Azul, what you do is you just pick one offering of tiles and take all the same tiles from that one offering, and that's
exactly.
It.
Whereas in this, as I said, the very start of a round, you're actually going to have four. I need to think of another word for what these aren't called tiles, I guess. These are called garden space. We'll call them garden pieces, I guess. So at the start of the game, you're gonna have a garden piece available and 4 tiles available, and then as the game continues, more tiles are going to come out and more garden pieces are going to flip face up and become eligible to draft. So it's already, and then that complexity very much carries across into the scoring system as well, where basically you're trying to get groups of the same color together, and you're also trying to get groups of the same symbol together. So the real skill is basically get maximizing points from an individual tile. So you want a blue bird tile to be in as large a possible collection of blue tiles, and also simultaneously in as large a collection as possible of bird tiles. So it is significantly more both the placement rules and placement restrictions, the scoring, the drafting restrictions and drafting rules, and the scoring are all all notably and noteworthily more complex than, in my opinion, than in previous iterations of Azul. Now, in my opinion, this makes this by quite a margin the best Azul. I was disappointed with Stained Glass of Sintra and how similar it was. I was even more disappointed by Summer Pavilion and how similar it was. This one is the first one that really feels like genuinely an evolution of the system, in my opinion.
So this is, you said it was about a 60 to 90 minute game.
Well, that's what I think. Yeah, they claim.
And that's at 2, is it?
No, at 2, I'd say 45 to 60, which is what they claim.
Right.
I've played it 5 times. I've played it at 4 and I've played it at 2. I think I played it at 2 twice and I played it at 4 3 times, I think. So I'm losing pieces. I'd say 45 to 60. I think it's a 20 to 30 minute teach. It's been well received by. I've played it with my parents. I played it with Deborah in various combinations, and it's been well received by all. My dad definitely struggled with it a bit more than he has done with the previous Azul, which makes perfect sense because he does struggle with more complicated games, and this is a more complicated Azul. But he was still able to handle it, and he still, as I said, he still liked it and received it well. As I do think it's the best one. If you like Azul, I think this is. If you really like Azul, I guess this is a must-buy because I think it's better than Azul. And I think anyone who likes abstract games will enjoy it. I think you'd probably get more out of it than the regular Azul. Definitely,
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I like the regular Azul. I don't know why I don't own it. I never actually had the need to own it.
But the game's played by way in 4 rounds. And then here it is. So if I can get this displayed, in the first round, as you can see, there's by the different colors in this wheel symbol. In the first round, I'm colorblind, but is that brown? Brown tiles with trees on them, and light blue tiles will score at the end of round 1. and then this moves, this rotates, and then in second round, these next 3 score, and then the third round, and so on and so forth. So different tiles score at different rounds, but then everything scores properly at endgame scoring. And the more, so for example, because I only really talked about drafting, I didn't even talk about the placing of tiles in your garden. So there are trees, birds, butterflies, and then 3 flowers: a flower with 4 petals, a flower with 5 petals, and a flower with 6 petals. And they're basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And in order to place a 6, you have to discard 5 other tiles, and those tiles have to match either the color or the symbol. So it's very, very expensive to place the higher value, the 6s and the 5s, but then they score 5, 6, 4, whatever points respectively. So the more valuable tiles don't score till later, so you've got more time to place them. But then if you manage to get them out in time for that round, they score more points. And as I said, everything scores again at the end.
On that scoring sheet you had there, or the scoring dial, it looks like those are fixed, but it also looks double-sided. Does the scoring, can it change?
Exactly so. Yeah, there's an alternate game mode which I haven't played with. So the which basically alters the order in which things score. So yeah, so in the alternate version, you have to get any 6 tiles that you want to score during the game, as opposed to an in-game scoring, would have to be placed during round 1. So that's going to be significantly harder. That's going to create a race for level 6 tiles straight away. But any one you get out there is immediately 6 points. And then and then purple and blue are also scored immediately. So if you could get a blue 6 and a purple 6 straight away, that's 14 points, which is quite a lot of points.
I mean, it sounds to me like, in terms of sort of replayability, it sounds like it's got that right length where even if it is sort of relatively similar each time you play it, it's at least it's short enough to sort of remain reasonably compelling.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I am not excited to play this game again, because abstract puzzle games are not my type of game, generally speaking. But I do appreciate its quality. And I definitely would recommend it to people who like I said, to Azul lovers, to abstract people who enjoy abstract puzzle games. And it is by far the best Azul, in my opinion.
I think that these kinds of things as well, like it strikes me as the kind of game that would sort of sit in my collection, and I would pull out when there was sort of the opportunity for it. It's like there's certain games where I play it once and I'm like, well, that was great, and I'm not sure I need to play that again. But then it just a month or 2 months later, I'm like, oh, we've got the opportunity, and I'd really like to have another go at this. Whereas like I wouldn't be interested in sort of immediately playing it again. Multiple sessions back to back.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think after we played it at one point, I think the next day Deborah suggested playing it again. I was like, let's play something different. Played it yesterday. But it is good. It's good. It's definitely, if I was going to keep one Azul, I actually have all of them still, but if I was going to keep one, this would be the one I keep. That I'd shouted out. I mean, at Essen.
You mean if you were ever going to sell any of your Azuls, you'd sell this last?
Yeah, but I have I still effectively have the system of would I sell it or not, because I put games down in my shed, don't I?
Yeah, so this is the last one to go in the shed.
This one's on the Calyx, is in the Calyx. And then I think some pavilion is in the spare room on top of one of the wardrobes, and then I think the other 2, I think stained glass and base Azul, I think, are in the shed. I think.
This is, by the way, in case you're unfamiliar, this is the official RSP review system categories.
It's worth noting that this year at Essen 2022, this year Essen, they are releasing a new Azul again, although it's not a new Azul, so I will not be buying this. For the first time, I will not be buying it. It is Azul Chocolatier Master, I think it is, or Master Chocolatier, which is just the first original Azul, but this time, instead of colourful Portuguese tiles, it is chocolates. But the game is identical.
And I'll be very disappointed if they're not actually edible.
They're not going to be edible. Of course they're not going to be edible.
What, you never played Chocolate Monopoly with the edible houses?
No, I've played Chocolate Scrabble, but I don't think this... I think this is meant to be a replayable I don't think. I think you're, I don't. Yeah, it's not.
Boo! Make it cheap and let us eat it.
Yeah, I'd actually rather play that, frankly. Yeah, I don't. I don't understand. Who is that for? Like, who are the people?
Edible board games.
Well, no,
Well,
specifically Chocolate Azul. Like, who is this for? People who absolutely
people like me who don't have Azul yet, and
yeah, I guess if you were to buy,
choice.
if you you say you enjoy Azul but you happen not to have it, I guess if you were going to buy it, you might as well get the new fancy chocolate edition. But I mean, how many people like you exist who are going to now say, "Oh, sod it, I'll buy it because it's a new edition"? I think
the other thing is I don't. I think this kind of abstract puzzle game is very much something you have if you have people to play it with. You know, like you talk about it not being your sort of perfect kind of thing, and yet you've managed to get 5 plays in of it. I mean, over the course of a year, sure, but that's still not an unreasonable number of plays.
Five's plenty over the course of a year, frankly.
Yeah. For a single game, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so, like, I think
it costs like €40 or so. That's 5. That's like what, 5 to 7 hours of enjoyment for €40. Pretty good.
Yeah, and for 2 to 4 people as well. So that's great value for money in terms of that. But it's also, I think, because you've got the kind of you've got that group, to play it with. Whereas I don't really have that group. I think that anyone who I do know who are interested in that kind of game, and I do have those friends, they would already own it. So then I don't need to have it.
Yeah, sure, makes sense. Sounds like if you've never played Azul, then this version is the one to start with. Yes, it's so. I think so. Yes, because honestly, there's no need for more than one Azul to exist or be in one collection, in my opinion. And I think this is the best one. If you were to, but this is significantly more complicated to teach to a non-gamer. I think Azul is one of the benefits of base Azul is it's quite a good game for non-gamers. Its lack of a theme actually kind of almost helps in a way with that.
But it's also extremely repetitive and simple in a good way. Easy to grasp.
And I think Queen's Garden is just that little bit hard to grasp. So I think if you're a gamer and you're looking to play Azul, yes, Eddie, this is the one to pick up. If you're looking to pick up Azul to use as a game for non-gamers, then actually just stick with the base one, or maybe even the chocolate one.
Chocolates might be an easier sell than tiles.
Exactly.
Everyone might be angry that they're not real chocolates.